Hi, I'm in the Watchtower's Bearing book, their commentary on Acts, and this time we're dealing with Acts chapter 12, verses 12 to 25, and I'll be reading it from the Silver Sword, the New World Translation. So this is right after he's been miraculously released from prison by an angel, and he's now deciding what to do on the street. After he realized this, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, who was called Mark, where quite a few were gathered together and were praying. When he knocked at the door of the gateway, a servant girl named Rhoda came to answer the call. On recognizing the voice of Peter, she was so overjoyed that she did not open the gate, but ran inside, reported that Peter was standing at the gateway. They said to her, "You are out of your mind." But she kept insisting that it was so. They began to say, "It is his angel." But Peter remained there, knocking. When they opened the door, they saw him and were astonished. But he motioned to them with his hand to be silent, and told them in detail how Jehovah had brought him out of the prison. And he said, "Report these things to James and the brothers." With that he went out and traveled to another place. Now when it became day, there was quite a disturbance among the soldiers over what had become of Peter. Herod made a diligent search for him, and not finding him, he interrogated the guards and commanded them to be led off to punishment. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea and spent some time there. Now he was in an angry mood against the people of Tyre and Sidon. So they came to him with one purpose, and after persuading Blastus, the man in charge of the king's household affairs, they sued for peace, because their country was supplied with food from the land of the king. On a set day, Herod clothed himself with royal raiment and sat down on the judgment seat and began giving them a public address. Then the people who were assembled began shouting, "A God's voice and not a man's." Instantly the angel of Jehovah struck him, because he did not give the glory to God. He was eaten up with worms and died. But the word of Jehovah went on growing and spreading. As for Barnabas and Saul, after fully carrying out the relief work in Jerusalem, they returned and took along with them John, the one also called Mark. In the last video, first of all, we should make the point that, again, the Watchtower has changed the Greek interlinear text where it says Lord in verses 17, 23, and 24 and put in the tetragram. But in the Greek interlinear, you will find Lord as the word. In the last video, the Bearing book had made the statement, Christians today do not expect miraculous deliverance. The verses that we covered here had a gathering of Christians praying for Peter, and it seems they did not expect a miraculous release of Peter either, because they don't believe Rhoda when she says Peter is standing outside the gate, and they're quite astonished to find that he is there. What is the reason, then, that we are told of this account? In the Watchtower's teaching, it's rather there to discourage the expectation of answers to prayers, or perhaps the limiting of what we can pray about or for. I would just say the Watchtower's general teaching, not specifically on this text, but generally, as a witness, I was discouraged from expecting very specific answers to prayers, and limiting what I would pray about and not pray about. What does this account tell us, though, about prayer? I think it tells us to expect God to do more than you expect. This is not the same as demanding. Take all of your concerns and the concerns of people around you to God. And He likes to hear from us. We're commanded to pray. But I think prayer helps us an awful lot, probably more than you could say anything helps God. But He likes to hear from us. And community prayer, like these Christians were doing, coming together and praying about the need of a brother in their acquaintance. So doing that develops a closeness among the brethren and an open awareness of the specific struggles that might be happening within your group. And you yourself may be an answer to someone's prayer. If we are acquainted with the needs and struggles of others, then we can help them. So I can say that I have experienced that in Christian fellowship. That praying together is an assistance to one another in support, but also in practical ways in which you might be able to help someone when you know they have a specific need or struggle. We do not know exactly what these Christians were praying for. We're just told in verse 5, so Peter was being kept in the prison, but the congregation was intensely praying to God for him. So we don't know exactly what they were praying to happen, but it could have been that they were praying that Peter have courage, or that he has some kind of comfort and relief given to him while in prison, that he give a good testimony. We don't really know what they were praying for, but we do know they were praying. And surely they had also prayed for James prior to his execution. So in this case, they were surprised at the answer. So I would say this is an encouragement to pray to God and leave it with God, and not to make rules for him or demands of him. Let his will be done. I'm going to link to a video of Ray Franz about Mexican Jehovah's Witnesses. They were told to lie so that the Watchtower could own property, and they were to have no public prayers and no Bibles at their meetings. You know, this astounded me, that the Watchtower would advise the brothers there to do that. So it shows that they actually devalue prayer. If they could say, we can gather together, but don't pray. Okay, thanks for listening.